Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the 11th scenario of Railway Empire 2 across the Alps. Looking at our mission objectives, we see that we are first going to achieve an express status between Nice and Turin, and then grow the province of Provence and Dauphin, pardon my French, and then produce 9 loads of clothing in this via one of our factories. See that this is perfect for producing fashion, as it already has a weavery there. And the way that I set this up was to build a split here. Refer to this as the Burgundy split. A line here from Marseille all the way up to Lyon through the connection bonuses here. Little extra auxiliary line here with only one freight train, freight only line that will come in. Make sure that these are absolutely full before they leave the station. And then one little express line going straight from Turin into Nice will give us that connection bonus pretty much immediately, and will also make sure that we have achieved the objective as soon as absolutely possible, using then the excellent Flying Scotsman, a very good express train, one of the fastest in the entire game. And besides that, there is also the let's refer to this as the Italian line, this southern line going from Nice to Turin, Milan, and Venice. And we can actually afford all of this. Haven't gotten very many trains at this point, but as soon as the connection bonuses come rolling in, we will be able to afford a lot more trains, and we can delete this one. It's kind of an expensive train, and rather rely on this Santa Fe, which is a very good train with high tractive power that can traverse this mountainous regions. Looking further at our trains, we see that we have access to the Flying Scotsman and the Santa Fe, and the Santa Fe actually being superior to the Mountain, even as a freight train. It's a little bit more expensive, but late in the game, the trains aren't that very much expensive because we have access to all these nice techs that make locomotives cheaper. But the Santa Fe, can be pointed out, has both higher speed and higher tractive power than the Mountain. The important thing here to notice is that as soon as I get some more money coming in, I will build a hotel here at Rooks, and perhaps even also warehouse, so that now, as it is in Turin, they cannot reach Lyon. But later on, I will show that with a hotel here, the people from Turin, they can stop here at the hotel and go straight up to Lyon, and that will make for a perfect connection and a lot more money rolling in. I think the same would be true for Milan. See if they can reach Lyon. Yes, they can actually reach Lyon, because it all depends on whether or not this length here is going down to Nice and then up to Lyon is more than twice the air distance, and it's harder to achieve that for cities that are close by but still separated by this terrain like this more or less impossible Alps. Not impossible everywhere. There is actually an opportunity to build something here later on, but then one at this map has to be extra careful about looking at the actual contour lines here and make sure that the elevation is not more than it absolutely needs to be. But one can see that I managed to build this with the absolute minimum of of bridges. Here there will be a bridge, but this is a very low bridge. So this doesn't cost so much. Bridges are much more expensive if they are high bridges. Like this one was a tiny bit expensive, and it sort of had to be bumped down a bit. But with this late in the game, with these fantastic trains, it's much easier well, the incline doesn't matter that much in the 80-40s. Then in the incline, just a couple of percent will make a huge difference. But now it is not so crucial. And then, almost a year into the game, we've been able to achieve our first set of mission objectives, like this, producing the clothing in this being the last one that was fulfilled. And then we will move on from the western peaks to straight through. And then we're going up to Switzerland and focus on Geneva, and then build an express status rail line between Ulm and St. Moritz. It's a little bit awkward. And then produce dairy products in Switzerland to be transported to these resorts like Morris and Zermatt, or others that might like it. And then transport 60 passengers without changing trains. Very important to notice that on this level. These long hauls where people might easily start changing trains from goes from all the way from Venice to Geneva. But let's first see how we accomplished the western peaks. Of course, built up our own little fashion factory down here. I haven't really bumped it up because money are scarce and there is so much to be built. But then, first of all, I made this Rooks into a hub. So now there is a hotel here, which is pretty busy, and also a warehouse where some goods are being interchanged. And one can see now that this Turin-Lyon connection, that is going through Rooks, and a lot of these other places too are having a much shorter ride, and a shorter ride means more money for us. Then this goes through Turin first, and then later on to Rooks. See, not so much have happened down here at the Italian line. We have connected on these resources, these little resource-only lines, feeding the butchery in Venice, and also here in Milan there will be a warehouse with excess lumber coming in from there, and here from the south one with corn coming into Turin. So now we are pretty fulfilled, and these cities are growing steadily. Not then at the end of the line here at Marseille, that is often the city that grows the slowest. Much better to be in the middle of a line, or particularly in the middle of two different zones. Added on this milk resource here that now just goes up to this Moreau station on the, call this the Burgundy line, that goes from South France, Italy here, in this cross up here. And a cheap and fast way to do this is just to connect one rural business to another business by a warehouse. But then one can see it fills up pretty good. There's only one line back and forth here, and they are going to pick up the sugar and also the milk. And one can see that the milk now piles up, and it's in many ways much better to have these resources go into a city, because the city has its own storage and its own need, and particularly here with Lyon having a dairy factory, I will think later on I will draw this line further on so that it goes straight into Lyon. That is also we needed a warehouse there as it has access to wheat, but then money is a bit slow, and I'm really looking forward to expand this. But I started here. You can see that I started building this Switzerland zone, which but there are parts of this is actually France, Nancy and Lyon, and Strasbourg I think belong to Germany, depending on the fight back and forth over these border cities. But one can see here that Lyon has been turned into this hub, two warehouses here, two stations, two warehouses mirroring each other more or less. Didn't want wheat, I think, to be on both warehouses. This wheat only goes to Nancy and Strasbourg, and of course Dion. Well, Dion already has wheat coming in, I think, from other directions here, from there. And then if wheat was on both warehouses, that would make for a crisscrossing, messy tendency like this, where the wheat from another zone is trying to supply a new zone that already has wheat, and then the wheat from that started Switzerland zone will try to supply the Burgundy line, and this will make for a mess. So best not to do that. You can do it for a little while, but then one has to really check and see that everything is going okay. Have a look at the flow of goods in general, see how this hub is working. Corn going in both directions, lumber coming from each direction. You can see the Burgundy line has lumber, and the Swiss started circle has lumber, meat, evenly placed. Both we have to have three systems now: the Italian line, the Burgundy line, and then the started Swiss zone up here, both having their own meat. That's the best. No beer, so beer has to be imported into Switzerland, but there are beer on both Italian and Burgundy. Sugar isn't on the Italian line, so then sugar goes through this warehouse. It's a little dangerous to have these warehouses like this, but makes for a shorter ride, and we can see that it hasn't piled up any cloth. Lots of cloth all over, so that's absolutely no problem. The milk is being piled up a bit. You can see that there's only one milk resource, and it's destined to go everywhere. But then these trains, they are already starting to become very red, particularly on these lines. They can be very long hauls, and then the trains are being too filled up. Other than that, still demand for vegetables, but I'm not so sure if I have. There's one down here, and that also goes through this more or less invisible warehouse down at Rux. And there is some fruit up here. Not so much demand for fruit, but there are at least some in Nice and Marseille. And then later on, as soon as there is some demand here at Milan. But as soon as demand becomes a bit higher, we will connect to it. First and foremost, I will accomplish our first proper circular zone. Circular zones being particularly profitable. And then there is this nice little fashion factory that serves both Italy and Burgundy. One thing that I want to point out is that with just a little bit of science, one can reach the absolutely super fantastic Super Hudson. later on. And if one has the Super Hudson, that is an express train with attractive power over 200%, so it's absolutely well worth it to save up your invention points and reach this as fast as possible. Then there is no need to have mixed or any difference. It will have multi-purpose. It can be used for freight only, being so superior. Unfortunately, as I played this through this time, I forgot about the Super Hudson. So I played all the way through by using the Flying Scotsman for passenger only, and the Santa Fe for mixed transportation. But still, as we're going to see, I made for a great score nevertheless, but it would have been even greater if one just focused on the Super Hudson, which I would very much recommend. There's always room for improvement if somebody wants to play this better than I did. And so then, just a few months later, a little bit more than a year of gameplay, we've been able to complete this nice first circular zone, which I refer to as the Swiss zone. I had to do a little bit of dirty tricks here with Geneva. Put up a station then first, connect that one, and then one can put up another station, and then one can delete this station, and slowly but certainly one and then expanding the allowed region, and then I can build the Geneva station here. We're at the very edge of the lake, or else I would have to build it like this. Of course, this will always be an option, but then it is not so easy to, if it's just a 2-lane becoming a 4-lane system here, a 4-lane grid, that isn't so bad. But I'm certainly going to expand this into being a 4-lane system, 4 tracks parallel, so that I can have both passengers and mixed transportation. That's not so easy if there are perpendicularly placed stations. Much easier if all are horizontally placed along the line, like they all are now. With Able, then, was this mission objective to achieve an express status on a rail line between Ulm and St. Moritz. So then we connected the Ulm to Strasbourg, and then built for this tiny little one-liner here that goes straight to St. Moritz. St. Moritz, it receives dairy products, but nothing else beyond that and passengers. And then this wouldn't really be very profitable. One can see now, okay, it's a little bit of a profit, but I wanted to show this, that one can just achieve the mission objective like that and then delete it later on. We have another mission objective to make a line from Geneva and all the way to Venice, and that will crisscross here, and one have to build a bridge, or it will just be in the way. So it's absolutely possible to achieve just the mission objectives, and then delete it, get all that money back, and rather build something else. See how much money this one little line costs if you first delete the train and the station. And then there's a supply depot here, of course, and there's 500,000 just for that part of the line, and then that's almost $1 million just to build that line, and that $1 million can certainly be used better for other purposes and expand, particularly this, that we're building the line from Geneva to Venice. That will be much more effective and lucrative, going through Zurich and Trent there, and these tiny little resorts up there. I built a line here up to Zermatt, but these little resorts are much less lucrative than to grow these cities. Resort will always be the same size, while Zurich, as soon as it starts growing, can start to produce an enormous amount of passengers and mails. So much better to focus on cities than to build all these prestige projects. Sometimes it's better to just please the investors, and as soon as they are pleased, we can go back into what I find the most fun part of the game, making money. And then by September, almost 2 years of gameplay, we've been able to complete our second set of mission objectives in just a shortest little while. Built this really nice long line here from Geneva to Venice. Made absolutely, and starting, of course, in both directions. These are on the same path, but one starting in Geneva and one starting in Venice, making absolutely certain that it is a direct line. You can see that here, but in order for them not to change trains in Zurich, these passengers, I had to skip Zurich here, because if I did include Zurich like this, then what would happen is that this line that goes directly from Geneva to Venice, that is a little bit longer than the line from on this Swiss circle or path. So then the passengers, they will go by cart or just walk over here to this station and then go over here. So if I now look at how the passengers are moving here in Venice, I will see that Geneva, they go to Trent first, and then further on to Zurich, and this is not a direct line, so one must keep that in mind. Check these mission objectives, check that they actually are not going via anywhere. That will make for a mess. The other mission objectives were to produce 3 loads of dairy product in the Switzerland region, Switzerland being consisting here of Geneva and Zurich, and then Zurich being very close to a milk farm close by, so they were the ones that were picked to be producing the dairy products. Now they really aren't producing anything because they're not getting their milk, but still this counts for the mission objectives. As soon as I bump this up to level 3, then it's done. It doesn't really have to be running, it's just about having a big enough business. And then Geneva has been growing very well, and we saw how we achieved this rail between Ulm and St. Moritz. So then it's a question of, another milestone in the development of the Alps. We see that the Alps are coming on really nicely now. So now all that is left is to conquer the rugged east. And of course also these optional tasks. We have to connect 18 cities to our rail network. That means pretty much all of the cities on the map. And then transport 60 passengers again without changing trains all the way from Vienna to Marseille. That is going to be an enormously long line. And then we can see that we are well on our way to connect a million citizens to our rail network. Pretty much good growth all over there. And then as we are building the line from Vienna to Marseille, we are also going from Venice to Graz. We can see that Vienna, Graz here, and then perhaps we can even include Trieste, and then to Venice. And then to make this Venice Graz, make that absolutely as short as possible, and see if it make for a little trick here, and I will show that later. it is possible to include the Trieste on the way and still make it short enough to achieve the mission, the optional task. And then there is an express status between Zermatt and St. Moritz. Really connect this to vantage points. And then also Zermatt-Turin to go over the mountains there. And one can see now that trains, particularly here on this Burgundy line, is becoming very, very busy. So then it would be a fantastically good idea to build a line that could go directly from Italy to Switzerland over the mountains, and we see that there is this pathway here. If we can just climb the mountains to go a little bit back and forth there, but that will really alleviate the traffic here. But now that money are rolling in pretty good, we see that most of our systems are now being 4-lane systems with the Flying Scotsman as the express alternative. And then in parallel to it, there will be the Santa Fe. It would have been better to use the Super Hudson on both, but then I sort of forgot about the Super Hudson. There's always something that one forgets. So, but then in order to further increase transport capacity here, and also to bring this milk here into the dairy factory at Lyon, a direct line now from Marseille that doesn't go through this Rox Hotel to have an extra one. The Rox Hotel is a pretty brilliant trick on this level, but then it's best to have more solutions. So now there will be 3 sets of lines here from one express, one ordinary to Marseille, and then one on the other side of this Burgundy mountains line. There is also here with the St. Moritz already made for this line that goes through Geneva and through Zermatt in anticipation of that mission objective. It's also a good idea to just connect it. This comes natural, and sometimes our investors' demands are actually quite clever. So then what remains then is to look at the flow of goods, perhaps, promises to explain these warehouses. You can see wheat is pretty evenly distributed. This, what shall we say, this call this the Trans-Alp, the Tyrol line. We can refer to this as the Tyrol line. It has lots of wheat, pretty much everywhere. And then here there is actually a little bit of a problem. I wonder why there isn't any wheat here. Oh, I've forgotten to put this up. That's actually a little bit of a problem. So at least there has to be, I must have deleted it and then rebuilt it or something. So then one can see that now wheat is being transported here. Setting that up like this, adding perhaps an extra train, and then now we should be getting some wheat coming in. We can otherwise see that wheat is usually kept local. And then with the corn, how is that doing? Got corn up here. No particular reason to have corn on this warehouse, I think. But perhaps we should. Let's see. If I include corn here as well, what will happen then? It's hard to really know what's happening now. That seems to be fine. There's this one corn coming in, and then the corn is going both to Switzerland and to the Burgundy zone. And even though that these cities that they get it from other places, so they get it from the Italian line that has been, I believe, expanded now to reach all the way to Marseille. And then with lumber, how is that going? Lumber is now going up all the way to Dijon, but now interchanging here because Switzerland has already 2 of these lumber resources. And then there wasn't any need to connect to this yet, and if there aren't any particular need, just some kind of tiny little bit need, one can wait, and then one can have the connection bonus coming up. So now we can connect to it, and then Ulm can get its own lumber, even though it doesn't really need it because it gets more than enough to the warehouse at Strasbourg. You can see that this Tyrol line lumber pretty evenly distributed. This is a hard map with all these mountains, but it's quite filled with factories placed around evenly and resources all over, so that there is not only enough for everybody, but it's also placed so that everybody can reach it. Beer, also a lot of beer spread evenly around, so there is no point in having any warehouses. Sugar here being transported from Switzerland and onto the Tyrol line. Other sugar resources, this one, kind of a busy place, so best not to have too much to do. We can see it keeps on piling up here a bit, but now with only these 2 resources, the sugar has been waiting for some time, and it has a warning triangle here. It's not due to any conflicts, but it's just due to a lack of capacity, and particularly with these resources that goes into another rural business, that's often cause for piling up and too little capacity to be bringing it all. But it's not a crisis, but it's something to pay heed to. Lots of cloth all over, so that's going to be easy. Milk here. Now there are several ways. Milk can go through Marseille, and it can also go through the Rux station. But I think they preferably go through Marseille so that it doesn't pile up. Here, I'm not quite sure why there is. Yes, there is a need for warehouse with milk there, because milk comes from this line, and now in Lyon with that warehouse, it can change onto the other lines, so that even though it doesn't seem to be any crosshair, there is 2 lines that sort of come together. That makes it easier to bring it up to Dijon. Otherwise, there isn't that much milk, only these 2 resources, but one takes care of Switzerland and the Tyrol line, while the other takes care of Burgundy and Italy, like this. And then we have gotten here down in Italy. There are some vegetables that goes up here into Tyrol and takes care of Tyrol and the Italian line. And another one here. Then when I finally set this up proper. Always something that one forgets. Keep on checking. That's the best trick. One can see that it now goes and distributes nicely to Switzerland and then to Burgundy. And with fruit up here in the Switzerland zone, close to France and Germany. going serving the Tyrol line and also serving Switzerland. But say, have I made another mistake here now? Yes, I think so. There is a fruit here, but I think it would be beneficial, yes, to have some fruit here as well. That would not make for any conflicts now. Now one can see that Lyon is getting his fruit, and then Nice and Marseille are getting fruit from two different places, which is often beneficial. Way too little fashion. These people becoming kind of fashion hungry as the city are growing, but no need for warehouses at this point. There isn't enough for even the closest ones, but it is good to have them evenly spread out. Same with the story with the flags. One up there in Nancy, serving only Switzerland, and one down here serving the Italian line, which now goes into southern France. And then there are some dairy products. I think this one at least is running, hopefully, yes, but not producing so very much. And Zurich, it isn't running because there just isn't enough capacity to bring this. There isn't enough milk for everybody. Milk is in high demand, and we have producing too little. No salt connected yet, and the rest of these other resources are. The cities haven't been growing that much yet. We have still not played for 2 years even. And then, after exactly 2 years of gameplay, we've been able to achieve all our mission objectives, including all the optional tasks, connected every city on the map, just about to transport these 60 passengers without changing trains from Vienna to Marseille, connected over 1 million citizens to our railway network, established a connection from Venice to Graz, shorter than 310 kilometers, and then built the express line between Zermatt and St. Maurice that we had already done, and then established a connection from Zermatt to Turin that is shorter than 250 kilometers. And then as soon as I unpause the game, ta-da! Scenario completed. And then see how we did. Fantastic score. Really proud of myself this time. Looking at the high score list, we made it to the 48th place. Might have been able to make it even better if I just had remembered that the Super Hudson, which is super fantastic and super important. So let's see how we did this. First of all, this line from Vienna to Marseille, enormously long, all the way like this, and a lot of stops in between, where there might be the passengers that are changing trains for different reasons. Had to exclude quite a lot of stations. One can see here now. Excluded Milan on the way from Vienna to Marseille, and also excluded Turin to make absolutely certain that it was a direct line, but also come up with another little trick that might be even better to have, in addition to have this line that just has these 2 stops, and they can do without the maintenance all this way back and forth. But of course, this makes for an even better and even faster achievement of the mission objective. And then to build a line from Venice to Graz that also included Trieste, because I thought it was a little dumb there. So then I cheated again, and I did this trick, built it like this, and then deleted and built another, and deleted and built another, and deleted and built another, until I was reached all the way to the absolutely furthest edge of where Trieste is allowed to expand. And by doing such, I could make for this line from Venice to Graz that was shorter. Or else I would have to build an extra line. One can build an extra line going through, through the mountains here or something. You could have as high as incline as one likes, but that would be much less effective. And then made for this super nice line here. It was really expensive, and you can see this bridge. This must be the eighth wonder of the world or something, to be able to build this. I'm sure if one can build it even more into the mountainsides and go back and forth even more. And then through, but I built it like this. I had so much money coming in now anyways, so it wasn't a problem building these bridges, but of course it was an expensive endeavor to build it here and then connect it to Zermatt. And Zermatt now being a real hub with a lot of passengers going back and forth here and connecting to this Geneva, Venice line as well, and then also to Geneva that is connected to the Switzerland zone. And then we had this, in order to connect all the cities, I expanded this line from this little Ulm connection that I used to have to now become the great, what I would call the Bavarian line that goes all the way from the Switzerland zone, all the way from Strasbourg through Ulm, Munich, Salzburg, Linz, and Vienna. And then at this point in the game, I just lay out 4 tracks immediately. There will be more than enough passengers, because as one have many cities connected already, when one just connects one other city, that one other city will be connected to pretty much all of the other cities that are already connected. So then there will be more than enough passengers coming from everywhere around. In addition to this, I wanted to have better connection around these eastern parts of the Alps. So then from Trent, that was connected through this Venice-Geneva line, also made for a sort of a half moon. I would have preferred to build that into a full circle, connecting Venice and Graz one more time, not only through the long line from Vienna to Marseille, but also to make this. One can see that there is the shape of a circle here, and I didn't have that much money, only playing for 2 years. So, but at least now it is possible to go from Graz to Linz, and then further on to Salzburg, and there will be, of course, there should be an hotel here, so that they can change there as well, and then one can further expand this and to build a proper circle around these eastern parts of the Alps. So to sum it up, have a last look at the flow of goods, see how the flow is moving around the eastern parts of the map. Lots of wheat here, so that's absolutely no problem. It's a little problematic when it hooks onto this long line, because you can see that now there are some extraordinarily long hauls, and if for some reason this if this wheat resource now runs out and Marseille starts calling for wheat from all over here from Trieste, that would make for a very, very long haul, and that would be very unprofitable. It would have then been better for them to wait until there would be more wheat there, or just not be fulfilled. to wait for these trains that take so long time. That's one of the reasons that I don't build these long lines. Say with corn, is there a conflict here? Yes, this is not correctly set up now, because one can see that it goes back and forth. There is corn on this Italian line that has been expanded into Austria, and there is also corn coming from this half moon around the eastern Alps. So this should not have been like this. This must be corrected. It's always important to be checking. See now everybody is still getting their corn. Zurich has its own, already shown that. And then on this Bavarian line, there is this corn coming in, and from Gretz and such, that this is a long line. Lumber here in Vienna being spread out into all corners of the map, pretty much on the Bavarian line, and also on the Italian-Austrian line. Italian-French-Austrian line actually goes through the three big empires. Still no need for warehouses with for meat being nicely distributed all over, particularly here from Vienna, spreads to all corners of the map, same way as the lumber. Lots and lots of beer up here in Bavaria. They are particularly fond of their beer drinking. And sugar, same. Vienna being used as this hub, no conflict here, because this is a freight-only line, so then Ulm gets a little bit extra. And also sugar down here at Trieste, but that's also one of those freight-only lines, so there is no conflict. Salzburg, we got the weavery, and so does Venice. Then there's one on each side of the eastern Alps. So lots of weavery coming in, no conflicts. Milk, wasn't so much milk, no new milk resources down here. So, but still, not everybody is getting there. There was no point in putting up warehouses when there are so little, when the production is less than half the demand. Then there is no point in trying to feed everybody. And then there was a new resource down here, goes on to Trieste. And this is also unproblematic, because now it means that there are two vegetable resources on this southern almost transcontinental line from France through Italy, through Vienna, then from Vienna further on all the way up to Strasbourg. Enormously long hauls, but no conflicts at least, but might be a little bit unprofitable. New fruit resource down here at Trieste that goes on to the same system as the fruit down here from Turin. And then also Vienna being this super hub now that can also serve the Bavarian line. And no new fashion clothings, but the other fashion factories, they have been growing a bit. Could have spent some money on bumping this up, that wouldn't hurt, but then money is, well, I think at least often best spent on rails in railway empire. And then there aren't so much of these factory resources, but at least we got hold of that one single salt resource that we could have bought in advance, because salt is becoming in much demand now. Everybody's wanting salt pretty much, and then one can see that with this setup, then there is salt is being distributed to all of the cities, but of course there is far too little salt. But it's very nice to have the salt. It takes a lot less salt to get 100% fulfillment of salt than, for example, with wheat. If one checks on one of these big cities, say with Nis, that has grown a bit, You can see here that it only takes about one wagon a week to fulfill its demand of salt, while it takes twice the amount to fulfill with the corn or lumber um, or wheat, or the more basic resources. Seems to be a problem here with the lumber. Why is that? There is some problem here. That must be. Why is that? Is it coming from several directions? Or is it just due to lack of transportation? Oh, can't really say. One way to do it then is just to take this, take it out, remove it, then it all goes back to its destination, and try to start all over again. Like, I can't really see what would be the problem there with the lumber, but then at least there are no warning triangles there, and then NIS is free to get lumber now, because NIS should be getting lumber from this resource, but it was waiting for lumber from the resource over here. And why this is a problem? It seems to be on the same line. It might have to do with perhaps now. Yeah, there shouldn't be any lumber there. That was create the problem. If I take that away, that should take care of it. Now there isn't so much crisscrossing back and forth. Well, other than that, it seems to be functioning. A little extra bonus popping up here as well, because we've been patiently waiting a little bit at least. Well, but then I guess that pretty much sums it all up. One can feel free to like and subscribe. That would be very nice. And then otherwise, I would just say do enjoy this great game, and hope to see you next time around, and goodbye.